I'm going to say a prayer for us all. I think that we are at a state when it comes to politics and knowing who we are. It's some reading we have to do, because the more reading that I do, the more my heart is breaking. It's breaking. It's falling apart. And it's falling apart for a nation. I want you to understand, it ain't even about just Latuska. It's about everyone I have ever come in contact with. That's how serious this stuff is. You know, I go to town hall meetings and I realize that the questions that we are posing in these meetings mean nothing. That's why we get the results that we get. Because we're not asking the right questions. It's some things that we have to do for ourselves. And once we realize we have to do it for ourselves, that's when you have to do the work. You have to put in the work. But most of society don't want to do nothing. Let me tell you something. Even the way it's set up now, everything is just becoming so complacent in life. You know, well, we're going to go paperless. But then the reason for going paperless is you no longer control the paper. You should be in the standing of controlling the paper. That is an instrument. But because you want to be comfortable and not be in possession of the paper, everything is being done unto you. Everything. You know, I'm looking at you go to town hall meetings, and the thing is, they're taking our tax money and they're taking it and putting it over there and doing this with that. Well, if you read the UCC code and you knew that you were a natural person, taxes wouldn't have nothing to do with you anyway. You would correct your status and not even play that game. Then even if you got further and you just broke through the illusion of the matrix, because it's real. Every business that's out here is owned and operated by somebody, which means they created it on a piece of paper, just like my business. They just created it. So the IRS has an NFO or a CFO or whatever they call it, CEO. Every part of this governmental really foolishness is owned by a person. The DMV is owned by a person, someone creating a corporation. Baby, I just, if you are a corporation and you're operating for profit, you are very underhanded. And you are operating under deceitful practices. You are not here to help the people. You are here to help yourself. Nothing wrong with it. I don't have a problem with it. Because that's you. That shows me your consciousness. That shows me who you are directly. Directly. A lot of the things that are going on are because of deceptive practices. The only way that we could be deceived is if we don't acquire the knowledge. We've got to acquire the freaking knowledge. Congress creates statutes. Okay? And I'm looking at the things that are being passed, like the governor just passed this thing for the police to go into school. What? I don't know. No. But at the same time, before this law was passed, I was able to go into a church and see the people be directed to agree with this. Politics and religion are two things that should be separated at all times. But most often, you go into these churches and they direct you on how to vote. But then you find yourself in a position where, woe is me. But in this war is you, because you have done what your master asked you to do. You have not done your due diligence and found and searched to find yourself reproved on anything. You haven't sought the knowledge for yourself. You just believed what somebody said to you. We should be exactly where we at because of who we are and because of the things that we allow. This is sad. When I tell you, I'm reading this stuff, and I'm talking about I'm reading the Magna Carta, I'm reading the Declaration of Independence, I'm reading the Constitution, I'm reading the Legislature, I'm reading the Jurisdiction, baby, and tears are rolling down my eyes for us. Mainly because I have children and grandchildren. Not only children and grandchildren, I have friends. I have people. This has gotten me to a point where I went to sleep last night, and I went to sleep, and it's so strange, like the things that are happening. Like, you look at police officers, and I know it sounds like a ramble, but guess what? I'm a ramble till I get it out, because I got to set myself free. You look at police officers, most police officers are soldiers. Most soldiers do what they're told. They don't ask no questions. They just do what they're told. So now you have a group of people that are just doing what they're told. Or either when you look at attorneys, attorneys are actors in court. You go to court, the judge has on black. You are not even considered a natural person in court, but if you don't understand that standing, you will get your representative, someone to represent you, someone who has made an oath to Britain. That's what the bar is. Why? How can you represent me and you taking an oath to represent something else? Man, we lack so much knowledge, and it's really disheartening. My girlfriend called me yesterday. She said, "I'm really worried about you, babe. I'm good. I'm good because I see I'm in a maze." You know, and it goes back to even God. That's how deep this stuff is. The Lord is each and every last one of us. That's what the Lord is. You a Lord, I'm a Lord, Jeff a Lord, Kim a Lord. Everybody is a Lord. But it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Everybody is praying to this thing up in the sky that is not real. And at the end of every prayer, guess what it tells you? God is a man. And you don't even realize that that whole movie is about the people. Second movie, I was talking about how every business and corporation has a owner. You look at the Matrix. Just look at the Matrix. And then you see Neo. He is the one with the knowledge of self. Okay? Neo is, oh my God, it's me. But every time he goes into the Matrix, what do you see? The people going back and forth to their jobs and doing all of this stuff. And then him and the agents are fighting because the agents are the ones with the contracts. And Neo knows that these are the people that he's at war with. He's removing himself from the contracts because he refuses to be in the people doing as they are told. That's where we are right now. The movies are a reflection of us and our sleepitude, because we sleep. We sleep, and I'm talking about we in a deep sleep. And we are so sleep. Do you know how many people say they own their house, but if they don't have a superior deed, they don't own nothing but their own imagination? That's how sleep we are. We are so asleep. Natural people shouldn't even pay taxes. So then why are you in these town hall meetings asking where your tax money going when you should be correcting your status, knowing who you are and knowing that you have no right to be paying taxes? You don't even, that's not even a part of who you are. But because we refuse to read, we just want to believe. Slaves believe. And you got to look at it from that standpoint. Our history is from dictators and people being slaves. That's everybody's history on this planet. It's not just Black people's history. Everyone comes from either being a slave or owner, period. So then how do you not understand the context of I'm being taught something that may not be true? Or I'm being told something that I must research for myself. Why are we not researching for ourselves? I'm reading these books and it is blowing my mind, because not only am I reading the books, I'm actually taking the time to research the material of the books in which I'm reading to make sure what they're saying is in alignment with what has already previously been said in history. Sad but true, if you do not know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. We have got to stand up. We have got to speak out. And when you see something, say something. That is our responsibility, to correct our government. We are the people that decided we needed somebody to tell us what to do anyway. So then when you see your government is operating in a deceptive practice, it is for you to correct them. They are only in operation because you give them dominion to operate you. That's it. That's the key. If the people would stand up and fire their officials, see why you want to stand up and vote for some more officials. Systematically, you need to tear all this down because it's not working, and it hasn't worked for 150 years. And if we continue on the journey in which that we are clearly on, we're going to end up in some damn concentration camps. We're going to end up, our children are going to be systematically brainwashed. That's where we're headed. That's exactly where we're headed. And my heart is like, no, this can't happen to us. Then, I began to really think about the Bible. Jesus talked about lawyers and not to trust them. Jesus spoke about the government and lead they behind along. See, Jesus said that stuff. But then most of the time you go into these churches and they read the black letters, the sorcery. See, life is in red, but they don't necessarily focus on the red letters. And if you notice, most of the books that have been reprinted don't even have the red letters in it. See, the red gives you life, even in legal matters. The color of the ink that you sign in says a lot. A lot of people say you have to either sign in black or blue, but that's representing that you dead. Ain't nothing about me dead, so I'm signing red. It correct my status, guess what I'm signing? Purple, because I'm royalty then. I'm back in my natural standing, where God has given me dominion and power over all these things, land, water, and air. Now we got to read. The only way we as a people can truly stand is if we acquire the knowledge. Not only acquire the knowledge, but act on the knowledge. I'm talking to someone else and they said, well, all of this is good, but have you done any of it? Why do you think I'm holding this conversation with you? And then that just, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of holding a conversation with somebody and I'm telling them something, and then they come back and ask me, have I done any of that? That means something wrong with you. Because either I know a thing, I can't tell you nothing unless I know it. I can't explain, I can explain all day something. That I can. But if I have not taken steps to prove myself, I will not discuss it with nobody. Why would I not prove myself? To myself, because I'm gonna know to myself, am I right? So let me prove it to me first so that I can prove it to others. But when I'm talking to somebody and I'm telling them something that I know for a fact is true, and then they come back and they say to me, well, have you done it? Sweetheart, I wouldn't even hold this conversation with you. I wouldn't even tell you nothing if I hadn't have done it myself. I don't deem it fit or correct to even advise anybody to do something that I haven't done myself. And that's on game. We're going to get it out straight. That's on game. I would not advise you to read something that I haven't read. I wouldn't advise you to proceed on a thing unless I've already done it, to show myself approved. Your attention span is getting shortened. Most you got is 2-3 seconds on anything. You're to the point, most of us are to the point where we're up and down these timelines, stuck, looking at something instead of researching something, instead of finding something. We rather look at something. Do you know how disheartening that is? We rather look at the masses. Put on these shows for the higher powers than to show ourselves approved or to seek knowledge for ourselves. You know, most people can only teach you something according to what they've been told. They may not know a thing about what they're teaching you. That's just like history. History is something that you should research for yourself. Because if you just get it out of the textbooks, then you have to go back to who is over the educational department of the United States. They're only going to put in there what they want you to know. And is that the fullness thereof of all the knowledge that you can know? No, that's one perspective. But it's for you to get encompassed in it, for you to fill yourself with the things that will help you stand. That is of person to person. We are at a point where, in actuality, there should be over 300 Congress people. I'm talking about it should be, because Congress can only do 300 people at a time. They can only represent 300 people. But we're at a state where we allow our congressmen and women to represent districts of people, which are over 300. But because we lack knowledge, we allow them to do it because they know what they're doing. And evidently we don't. So let me go on and get this praying. Well, I got some reading to do. And I got some slaves to set free. See, it's sad when you don't know that you're a slave. See, slaves can't own nothing. And if you're paying taxes, proof you're a slave. You've been a slave. Your parents have been slaves because you don't know who you are. If you pay taxes, you're a slave. And you are a slave by consent because you choose not to find the answers for yourself. You want somebody to tell you and direct you and read it for you and show it to you step by step. We got to not be lazy. That's what we got to not do. Laziness has gotten us here. Lack of knowledge is the thing that has gotten us in the state in which we're in right now. First, we lack knowledge of who we are. Then we lack the knowledge of how we stand in the law. That's madness. That's madness. Because no person should have dominion and power over you when dominion and power was given to you as a gift of life. When life was given to you, at that same moment, life was taken from you. You want me to tell you how? Because you were given a name. And after you were given that name, you were given a piece of paper. And you have been abiding by a piece of paper. See, they can't control natural people, but they can control that paper. And if you don't know that you are the holder of the paper, that you're not the paper, and that you're not the name, then you'll be operating with consent to do something because of lack of knowledge. Pure lack of knowledge is the reason why you're consenting to it. Do you know? Listen to this. Congress cannot alter rights. On the other hand, it is clear that Congress cannot, by authorization or ratification, give the slightest effect to a state law or constitution which is in conflict with the Constitution of the United States. Rights do not come in degrees, although it is manifested that an unconditional provision in the statute is not cured because included in the same act with valid provisions, and that there are no degrees of constitutionality. States cannot license rights. A state may not impose a charge for an enjoyment of a right granted by the federal Constitution, and that a flat license tax here involves restraints in advance of the constitutional liberties of press and religion, and the evaluable tends to suppress their existence. That the ordinance is non-discriminatory, and that it applies also to peddlers of wars and merchants. And then let's get into that. Do you know every time you go into a contract, whether it be voluntarily, involuntarily, but anytime you sign your name on a piece of paper, you get a paper life, because without your signature, that piece of paper is just a piece of paper. That's number one. It's just going to be a piece of paper till you put your name on it. Okay, now you put your name on this piece of paper. Unfortunately, because we don't know our position in this matrix, we operate in commerce. But none of the things that we have signed the contract to are we buying, selling, or trading. We are consumers. Consumers are not buying, selling, or trading because consumers are not in business to do any of that. Then you go back to 1933, the United States is bankrupt. The only way that you can pay debt is with silver and gold. United States don't have it. We don't have it. We have something that is called federal, what do they call it? Federal notes, which are promissory notes, which aren't worth, like monopoly money, and people kill each other over this monopoly money. That is not even, it's just a piece of paper with numbers on it, color. That's what money is. It is not worth. I couldn't take this money and trade it for silver and gold because it's a note, it's a promise, it's a federal note. You hear people say, well, you know, you go out of town and our money is more than anybody else's money. No, everybody else's money has value but ours. And so, no, we can't take this piece of paper over there into another country because it ain't worth nothing there. Just like their value of money ain't worth nothing here. It's just paper. And people killing each other over paper. People arguing about paper. Lives. I'm talking about lives being taken. And you hear people talking about Juneteenth. Don't buy anything. Don't do this and don't do that. But the whole thing is, Juneteenth is when everybody should truly unplug. It should be a straight unplug from everything. Really. From cutting TV off, putting your phone down, just a deplug for 3 days and get clear conscience. Get everything out of you and let the clear channel fall in you. That's what needs to happen on Juneteenth. Because it's not about the tennis shoes and the pants and what the people buying. And at the end of the day, people gonna do what they do. They're gonna, this is the key to life. People pay for what they want. That's the key to life. You pay for what you want. But when dealing with one another, oh, you want some stuff for free, but you'll pay somebody else to do the same exact thing. But you want to enslave and oppress your own people. That's where we at. With one another, with the government, with life. We were given life. And when we were given life, life was free. Free. And we were free to be. And then as we grew, and these statutes and things began to be created, let me tell you something. I'm talking to a young person, and I'm telling the young person, the next time you go into court, see, first of all, you did what you did. So now this is where we at. Why would you go into a courthouse and say that you understand something that you clearly don't understand because you've never studied law? But then you stand in a courtroom and say, yes, I understand. You do not understand law because you've never studied it. Hell, if you don't want to read a USC code, I know you ain't gonna sit down and read no laws. And just for your information, a lot of attorneys don't even know the law. You got to know the law to put it on the table for them to represent you properly. If that's what you want to do, if that's the lane you want to go in. A lot of them don't even know the law. Even if you study how attorneys became attorneys prior to, How they do it now? They would just go in and listen to lectures. Mind you, only taught on certain subjects. So then it was a whole scope of law they have no knowledge of. I'm only going to teach you what I want you to know. Why would I teach you something to benefit you as a natural person? Because now you with us. So we're going to teach you to stay in this circle. Then you look at churches. Who's there? Well, we have leaders and we have teachers. We have attorneys. We have judges. We have police officers and sheriffs. We have lawmakers. We have Congress. Those are the people that go to church. And love God. But don't treat others the way they want to be treated. Want to be deceptive in their practices. That is, and Jesus said it. Jesus said it. And he said not to do these things. And we sit here and we allow that stuff to happen. I'm not going to be able to do it. And I have this quote that I say to myself when I see life is getting hard or feeling hard, because it doesn't get hard, it feels hard. But when I get in that feeling, you know what I say? This woman can. This one woman can. This one woman will. This one woman must. Because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. And when you really love yourself, baby, you lay down your life for others. Because it's no longer about me. It's about the children that have not even been born. It's about rectifying history and making it better for every inhabitant. Somebody has to do it. And we cannot continue to elect people that have their own selfish desires and they lack the knowledge themselves. Again, you cannot represent me and you lack basic knowledge of what's going on. You know how many people I talk to that say, oh, well, yeah, we don't know nothing about that. What the hell are you running for? If you don't know anything about it and you're not willing to look it up and see it for yourself, I don't think you should be in position, because then we're just furthermore repeating the process. So I surrender. I surrender to that. I surrender to allowing people to lead us to our demise or take us away from our natural born given rights of freedom. I surrender to allowing people with their selfish behaviors and actions. I just can't. I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to do it. Not going to be able to do it. Because all life matters to me. It's not a group of people. Just one person, a group of people. Because it's bigger than that. Statutes are man-made, which takes away from natural law. When you take away from natural, see, common law means I am not to hurt or damage anyone or any property. That's a natural law. Don't do that. Don't let your mind take you to act on hurting, harming, or endangering anyone. That's common law. And do not destroy property. You do those things, that's on you, and whatever the penalty is, let it be so. Let it be. Because all life matters. You know, that means there's something going on here. If you take life in your own hand, another person's life in your own hand, because their life has nothing to do with you. And so a life for a life. If you damage property, pay for it. Wasn't yours. And if somebody damages yours, I know you would want to get your check. So treat people the way you want to be treated. See, that's common natural law. But when you get into water law, which is contractual law, and then air law, which is superior law, now we're swerving in the colors of law then. Land, air, and water. That's what law is, land, air, and water. And knowing the difference in the three. That is the law. For us to know. Been on here 36 minutes. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check down in the description if your life matter, the life of your children matter, if your grandmama and them matter to you. There's some things that we must get abreast on and begin to read. I put a few just starters, just start somewhere. Then we're going to get into truth and lending. Then we're going to get into the deceptive acts practices. We're going to get into a lot of other little stuff. Because registration act is a good one. If you own a car, you should read the registration act. And combine that with the truth and lending act, then you'll know you're not supposed to pay no down payment on nothing. And really and truly, if you wanted to, you could tell them you exporting a car and not even pay insurance. Because anytime you see city of, county of, you're going in different jurisdictions. The Constitution says you have the right to travel without a driver's license. Unless you have to have a driver's license if you are a passenger, like if you drive like the city bus, Greyhound, stuff like that. That's the only time you really need a license. But when you go to a state and they say, well, you got to change your license over, that makes you a ward of the state. So then it says, let's say, your name in all capital letters, the city of, the county of, all of that is different jurisdiction. Everything. No more than misunderstanding or lack of knowledge. That's what I'm saying. It's lack of knowledge on our part. Because we are not in our right understanding, our right comprehension of the law, our right comprehension of what these words are saying. Because again, what we think is English is legalese. Mixing, and that's a deceptive practice. How do you mix? Speak to me in a language in which I understand, which is common language. Do not mix legalese with me, because no, I do not understand. And I'm not ashamed to say, no, I have never studied the law, and no, I do not understand. Most people go into these places because they want to seem smart. Smartest thing you could do for yourself is be quiet, because you do not understand. Smartest thing you could do is what do they say? What did the police say? You had a right to remain silent. That's the smartest thing you can do. Don't even open your mouth. I don't answer no questions because I don't understand what's going on. That's the smartest thing. That's the smartest move you can make. I just told my children that a couple of weeks ago. Make the statement, I do not answer questions, and I do not understand what's going on. Because you don't. Stop doing what you've seen other people do. Know the law. Stand. Once you know it, stand. Because all the power is given to us. I love you. Talk to you guys later. And I appreciate each and every last one of you that even took the time to watch this video. You're going to find it right time, right place, right time in your life. And I thank you for your due diligence over your life. May your journey be continuous, and may your heart open. May your heart open for more than just you. May this process unfold for you. Make it easy for you. Because someone has to do it first to teach someone else, so that we become teachers to one another, so that we may truly live. So may life be the essence of what was given to us, return back into us. For it is the will of the Lord that these things are so. And so it is. God bless.